President Trump accusing the left of election interference this morning, just hours before his historic hush money trial is set to begin. The former president posting on Truth Social that the trial is a witch hunt and should be thrown out by the judge. He's accused of falsifying documents as part of a scheme to conceal a $130,000 payment back in 2016 to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump has denied any wrongdoing in the case, and it is the first time a former president will be on trial for criminal charges. I want to bring in Robert Ray now. He was an impeachment attorney for President Trump and was also a federal prosecutor. Robert, good morning to you. Thanks for being with me. I wanted to start with, jury selection this morning. More than 7 in 10 registered voters in New York County are Democrats. Only 7% are Republican. I mean, how are they possibly about to assemble an impartial jury today?
The two key words, I think, good morning, are obviously to seek a fair and impartial jury. That obviously is somewhat of a more difficult and complicated task here, given who the defendant is and the demographics that you have just have outlined. But look, I think most people believe that you should be able to get a fair and impartial jury any place. It would be a rare situation indeed where Americans aren't prepared to judge someone else potentially at risk of imprisonment and give them a fair trial. Look, it's the American way. It's what the Constitution requires. Now, how long it takes to pick a jury, I think, is going to be an interesting question. You know, some judges can pick a jury in 2 hours. Sometimes it might take 2 days. Sometimes it would be 2 weeks or more. I think it may take some time, so I wouldn't expect proceedings to be underway today with opening statements. It's going to take, I believe, certainly a matter of days before this judge and this courtroom and the parties are able to pick a fair and impartial jury.
Yeah, it could take quite a bit of time. We know some of the questions that these potential jurors are about to get asked, everything from, do you listen to talk radio? Do you attend rallies? Have you ever given to a campaign? I mean, what are both sides looking for with the ideal juror here, Robert?
Well, first, you're certainly trying to exclude bias from the jury pool, and you don't want to get on your jury or let pass through the system a mole who's prepared to sit the jury, pretend that they're fair and impartial, and then sabotage a potential verdict. You know, remember, in a criminal case, there are 12 jurors that will be selected plus alternates, but 12 will deliberate at the end of the case, and they have to reach a verdict unanimously beyond a reasonable doubt in order to convict. So a great amount of care will be taken at the outset to screen jurors, not only to select a fair and impartial jury, and from your side's perspective, one that, you know, you hope will give you the added benefit of a fair reflection on the evidence, but also to screen out anyone potentially who would be biased in favor of one result or another. And that's going to be a particularly challenging task for the president's legal team.
Yeah. And, you know, Robert, many of the former president's critics have admitted this is the weaker case facing him among the 4 indictments. With this specific trial, I mean, he faces 34 felony counts. What's the chance we actually see him behind bars if he's convicted, Robert?
I don't think there's much of a chance. I mean, I know some have said that because this is a felony and in the event he were convicted, that at least theoretically he would face jail time. This is a rather unusual case where what otherwise would be misdemeanors are being dressed up to be felonies on the theory that there was an intention to commit another crime, and they list out in this case what those other crimes might be, which would be campaign finance violations. It sounds all rather technical to most people, which I think is why the reaction has been this case may have some serious legal problems, whether now or on appeal. And when I say now, through jury instructions as to what the jury is going to be instructed, it must find in order to convict. And even in the event of a conviction, this case will go on appeal. Even if a sentence of imprisonment were imposed, obviously appeals would survive any conviction. And in any event, none of that would likely transpire prior to the election. If the former president is elected president of the United States, it's pretty clear, everybody seems of the view that he would not be in a position, or the authorities would not be in a position to send a sitting president to prison, and all these proceedings would have to be put on hold pending a presidency. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in. I mean, I think to answer your question, I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.